Well, this was a story from one of the members, and I'd mentioned about the Fae, the fairies, the Fae, in recent shows. And this particular person had an experience with the Fae and fate, which is where the word comes from. And I think it was a she. She said, up until my 20s, I thought there was something a bit special about me because I had an experience which I considered a kind of blessing with the Fae when I was about 5. It was only a few years back, in my late 40s, that I realised it had been a curse all along, and how it had directed my life in negative ways. All of it geared towards soul and energy harvesting, as well as possession, severe loneliness, isolation, lack of emotional stability, and subsequently low self-worth. And she said, I've been using frequencies and subliminals to help break these curses and rid myself of entities. But it's amazing how deep these go. They latch onto the nervous system itself in its quantum form, burrow into the marrow, intercept the subconscious and psychic messages. Sometimes it feels like I am the embodiment of the curse or curses itself. The feeling of being used then becomes the frequency of existence, attracting the reinforcement of that feeling. Not knowing how much of my spirit has been eaten, how much is left, whether it can be restored, and what will happen to me when I die are awful uncertainties that I experience on a daily basis. To the person who wrote that, when you die, you will be okay. So there's no worries on that front. That particular technology has been removed. My only comfort are my emotions, not the anger, but the tears, my empathy and compassion. It is when I experience these things that I can believe I still have a soul. Yes, you do. All communications with my soul itself is intercepted, and as is my attempts to communicate with Source. Yes, that's the voice technology in the head. That's why we spoke recently about counteracting what are your thoughts and what are theirs. Learn to control it, and that communication is restored. I do grounding, and that was the plan of the dark forces, to cut all in here off from source via tech and manipulation. And the worst thing anyone can do when faced with these issues is play the victim card. Yes, it is all so easy to do, playing the victim. I did it myself when I was younger. But that not only feeds the beast, but returns you back to that timeline and subconsciously replays the event as live, not past. And in some cases that then becomes self-torture, and the victim wheel keeps spinning. She went on, when I communicate with Earth using heart and will, I do get the signs, the breeze, the animals, etc. that cannot be intercepted. So that's cool, and I'm very grateful for that. The Fae I experienced were not the little butterfly people, but they came as coloured beings, not bright, but a bit misty, in female form. Each one was a different colour, orange, green, yellow, blue, purple, etc. And there was an activation of my sexual energy, my first sexual experience, even though there was no sex. It was chakra based, and it was through this interference that my energy had been used for all those years to my own detriment, deciding my fate. I do feel that this changed some years ago, and that's when the war that I'm waging really began. This particular group of entities are on a par with the Pleiadians that have largely been over-glamorized on the alt media as something benevolent, when clearly this is not the case, particularly the Pleiadians. In my experience and knowledge, these beings are, particularly their darker elements, on a par with the jinns. Like always, there used to be good and bad, but these entities fell a long time back. Why? Because they dabbled in the magic is why. The seducement was set and they bought it. Now, for some insight into comparisons between the jinns and the fae, read the Solomon texts. There is a 40-page version online rather than the 300+ one. And then watch Lost Girl on Netflix. The series is not that good, to be honest, and a bit over-sexual in content, which is indicative, as that is related to the fae. But it tells you quite a lot about the hidden world and also who fell and why. And they all had, like the demons that Solomon brought in, they all had individual tasks of how they interfered or interacted with humans. Some used as food, including the fae. Some used to interfere and play games. Some disrupted marriages. Some disrupted finance. It's the same. And the fae, like the elves, fell. The elves in particular went dark. The epitome of them, the elves, is Batman. He is the Dark Elf. They told you that, the Dark Knight, who resides in Gotham and is symbolized in the sky by one beam of light. Now, which city has a single beam of light and is referenced as Gotham? Yes, New York again. With man worshipping Haton, as in Manhattan, Haton, which is at-on, and also an anagram of NATO. It's all there in your face once you connect the dots.